Hi, today I wanted to talk about growth hacking and what is this buzzword growth hacking that everybody keeps talking now and then. You keep listening about this, but like if you want to really understand what is growth hacking and what are the various aspects around it. So I'm going to broadly touch about how you should think about growth hacking and what are various ways in you can do it and um, a structured framework to growth hacking. That's what I wanted to cover in this video, right? And yeah, so growth hacking essentially means that you're trying to drive growth in the company by unlocking the levers of growth, right? Growth is no way related to your entry barriers or legal barriers or risks and challenges of your company. Growth is typically a startup means growth. That's startup equal to growth, right? So if you're looking at growth, or if you're the growth leader inside the company, uh, one of the first thing you need to be clear is that you need to grow only once you've achieved a product market fit. So what is a product market fit is that you have seen that your product solves a particular problem for your customer. That means you're creating value, right? And how frequently are you creating value for your customer? And there is a repeat value that you are creating for your customer, right? So if you take the example of Redbus, the value of Redbus is when you actually book a ticket with them, and the frequency is whenever you are traveling. So probably it's thrice in a year or 5 times in a year, right? Uh, Same way, each company has its value. So you have two aspects to it. You need to understand what is the value and what is the frequency of you providing value. And once you identify this value metric, start plotting that on a graph and start observing how those things are changing, right? So once you have this value and time, you can do a cohort analysis, like how frequently the customers are repeating, right? So in a month one, if a customer is coming, in how many months the customer is repeating back, or how much percentage of the customers are repeating, right? So cohort is always a two-sided metric, like X percentage of the customers are repeating after 1 year, okay? Let's say 30% customers are repeating after 3 years. So that's a cohort metric. So once you figure out a once you figure out your frequency, then you actually start measuring your cohorts, right? So start doing your cohort analysis. That's how you would know you have product market fit. So you should not scale too early. That's at like before if you're especially talking in a B2B, you're not scaling beyond, before your first 10 customers. If you're talking about B2C, not before your first 500 or 1,000 customers, right? So till then, whatever you're trying to do is you're trying to talk to more and more customers and get them to do what they have to do, right? So that's typically the way to look at it. But the principles of growth or the growth culture should be adapted in as quickly as possible. Now let's start looking at growth framework. So the axiom I was trying to set up was you should only look at growth if the product market fit exists, right? So once you're sure that you already have a product market fit, then how do you look at growth? So there are typically three ways in which growth could happen inside your company. One is by product innovation or product engineering, right? So by improving the product so that the more and more people uh, convert to paid users in your product, convert to signed up users in your product, right? So things like conversion optimization become a part of this, right? So you're doing product growth and or product engineering or product innovation. That's the first thing that unlocks your growth. The second hierarchy, once you're done with your product engineering or innovation, is then you go for paid performance marketing, right? So essentially, it's mostly Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and LinkedIn ads, and trying a bunch of these things, right? And the third is brand marketing. These are the three ways in which you could grow your company. I'm going to cover each one of them right now. So when it comes to product engineering or product growth teams, you're mostly trying to create small experiments that improve, let's say, opt-in percentages of your landing pages or conversion percentages of your funnel. So the first thing you need to do here is identify what is your sales funnel, or identify whatever is your conversion funnel, customer acquisition funnel, and try and optimize them, right? Optimize it from end to end, from color of button to content on the page, to the email message you send to the customer once they sign up. So everything here is product growth or product innovation. Everything comes under this particular aspect, right? Also, referrals could be a part of this. So which kind of companies could use referrals? If people are naturally talking about your brand, like let's say if you figured out when you talk to your first 100 customers, you have figured out that majority of them knew from their friends, right? Like a word of mouth is spreading. That's when referral would work really, really great for you. So referral and viral loops could work very great for you. And one of the foolish thing that most people do is that they set up a referral program, but the referral program is hidden inside and it's very hard to discover, right? So if it's very hard to discover, how do you expect people to share that with their friends, right? That sort of optimization should happen, and it's important that you have growth leaders and growth teams who take care of this product innovation as a part, right? The second part of it is performance or paid marketing, right? So if you don't have in-house expertise for doing performance marketing, I think you should find good people who do advertising for you. So which platform to choose? Typically Google and Facebook are the biggest platforms who have the scale of users that can give you a growth and you can ride on, right? You should use Google if people search for your kind of businesses, right? If it's a very rare use case, right? For example, you're buying a car, right? So most people buy 2 to 3 cars or like 1 to 3 cars in their lifetime. So they would always search for something like that, right? Facebook would work great if for brand marketing or impulse driven sales, like especially if you have fashion, you might discover fashion through Facebook. You might discover some useful education material through Facebook, but not really a serious purchase where people go and search. So based on that, you need to test the platforms and scale your efforts on each of these platforms, right? So here the good thing would be to find a right partner to manage in case you do not have an in-house team who could help you do this, right? So one of the key things, right? Like, see, if you do performance marketing before you have understood your customer acquisition cost and lifetime value, it's going to be in the negative turn. So always ensure that your CACs are less than your LTVs. That's the way your performance marketing works. Like, for example, you spend $6 on acquiring a user. You need to understand in how much time that money is going to come back, right? Like if the CAC is got at a burn, right? You have spent $6 to acquire. Let's say each transaction gives you a couple of dollars. That means it's going to take 3 transactions, like and how long before this customer comes back 3 times on your platform, right? If they're going to come back once a month, it's going to be 3 months. This is a simplified calculation, but there is a much more complex calculation. But I just wanted to communicate the idea per se that that's how you would look at performance marketing. You should only do performance marketing if your CACs are less than your LTVs, right? And you should have a strong way to measure these things, and strong capabilities to execute and measure this thing. So find a great partner. So the third is brand marketing. So brand marketing is almost you don't touch it until you are at a significant stage. Probably until you raise, it's very late that you actually start doing brand marketing, until you exhaust all the options in your product innovation or product growth, and then you are also exhaust the options with performance marketing. That's when you actually go about doing brand marketing, right? So brand marketing comes at a very, very late stage because it's very, very hard to measure how much impact brand marketing has done on your ROI, right? So it's significantly late stage. So when you're looking at growth, right? So always there are levers of growth inside your company, right? So the levers of growth in your company could be adding more products, expanding to more markets, going to more languages, right? And increasing the average order value of your products, increasing the frequency of your customers. So these are various levers inside your company. So just for the sake of emphasis, I'm going to repeat, right? Expanding to other product lines, expanding to other geographies or markets, expanding to other languages, right? And increasing the average order value of the purchase, and improving the frequency of purchase. So there are various these are various growth levers inside the company. So you need to keep experimenting which of these things is working for you, and based on that, pick the best growth experiment that could give you the desired goals. And like always scale in ranges from 0 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1000, and apply these growth principles. So have a way of experimenting your growth. So by having a growth framework in place, by having an A/B testing framework in place, you should be able to do this. So there are platforms like Amplitude, platforms like Mixpanel that help you do these growth experiments. So if you're not embracing one of those, it's good that you have data-driven way of taking these growth decisions. Rather than sitting inside a room and arguing that certain form looks better, and I should reduce the number of fields inside the order form or change the color of a particular button. Right? Instead of arguing on personal priorities, conduct experiments and focus on the data to take your decisions. So this brings up to the end of growth hacking tips, or growth hacking framework, what I would call it. Right? I hope this is useful, and let's catch up in the next video.